And the 30-second timer is stay. All right.
What is going on?
I don't know. That's the 30-second timer.
Nice music.
That's the 30-second timer.
I guess it don't want to play that.
It's not me.
All right, just intro.
All right, intro. It's literally everything. Hold on, let me refresh everything because I don't know what the heck is going on.
Wow.
It's all our videos.
This is a fun night.
Yeah. I was late. Countdown's not working.
Let's try that. Yeah. It's all the videos. It's all the videos. That's weird. That's weird. All right, that's a no-go.
I guess there's a no-go. No intro, no nothing today.
I have no clue what's going on
We'll
with
make
that.
our own videos.
Yeah, exactly. That's StreamYard. I have no clue what's going on with that. All right, forget it. Welcome to another episode of Dread Dance Podcast. My name is Clint.
My name is Mal.
And we back. And today we have a special guest, Sanaa. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Sanaa Kelley of Real Foley Sound. She is a winning and also 4-time Emmy-nominated Foley actor.
Foley artist.
Artist. I'm sorry.
Foley artist.
How you doing today?
Good. How are you? Excited to be here with you guys.
We are great. Sorry that we are failing at our system right now. I don't know what's going on with that. I promise you, we're more professional than this, and we're not that professional.
It's because it's a Wednesday.
Yeah, they know.
I think StreamYard knows our schedule.
They're like, y'all don't be on here at this time. No, not today. But, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for even entertaining like half of my DMs and stuff like that. Like I tell everybody, as always, I find people via either TikTok or via Instagram. And I saw Sanaa. She was doing, I think it's an old TikTok now at this point, but she was doing something for Avatar: The Last Airbender, and she was doing Appa's like steps through the sand and Aang's steps through the sand. I saw that. I was like, that'd be somebody nice to have on the podcast. And as always, when I invite people on, I never actually do my research like I should probably do until when they start responding. I'm like, oh, she really did a lot. Like she kind of rules like my childhood a little bit. Like Invader Zim, freaking rock power. Yeah, we went deep.
Way back, like 26 years ago back.
Yeah. Well, we only 32. Yeah. So she's been doing everything, and of course she does the live action stuff as well. And Malcolm was like, "Oh, I know her because that's what I went to school for." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, let's find out more. Let's find out." So today we have Sanaa Kelley, and introduce yourself.
All right. Well, I'm Sanaa Kelley, and I'm a Foley artist. I own my company, Real Foley Sound. And every day I step into my studio and create sounds.
Awesome. Malcolm, do you want to take the lead on this one, or do you want me to go?
Oh, you can go. I'll jump in there.
Okay.
Have some stuff.
So how did this all begin? Because I knew that this was a profession, but I didn't know like how deep it goes. So like, how did this all like begin for you?
So I was fresh out of high school and I saw a Foley artist working. He had like a suitcase filled with junk in front of him. He had like a doorknob. He said, "That's for gun movement." I'm like, wait, gun movement? If a gun makes that much noise, it's broken. You shouldn't probably use it. And he was like, no, it gives it the essence of sound. You don't play it that loud. I'm like, okay. I mean, he just went through like weird things. I'm like, weird, but okay. And he said, then you do the footsteps. I'm like, wait, what? Like, why aren't they recording footsteps when they filming the movie.
Mhm.
Like, what are they doing to their shoes? Like, are they
Right.
lazy? Are they sleeping? What's going on? He's like, no, what happens is there's dialogue that they're trying to capture, clean dialogue. That's what's important. So when they say quiet on the set, they need the set to literally be quiet. So
Mhm.
they have like shoes, they put stuff on the shoes so the shoes are quiet.
Oh,
The floors, they do everything they can to capture clean dialogue. Because if you have two actors are walking and talking, you want to hear what they're saying, and not if they have like a heel, like the high endy heel. That's all the mic is gonna pick up.
Yeah.
right.
So you want to be able to capture the dialogue. So if there is footsteps or the dialogue is not clear, the actor is gonna have to go into a studio where they have to redo their lines, which is called ADR. And usually you don't want to do that because you have great performance that they do it. And a lot of the actors, they don't really like to do it
Yeah.
because they have to, some of them takes a lot to get into character and they have to do it in front of the screen, match their lips. So, so they have to make everything quiet. Like if we're talking and I'm eating a potato chip, you're going to hear the bag so loud, you're not going to hear anything else. So they
Right.
make bags that are not crinkly. They look like they're normal, but they're not. Therefore, they're set props.
You blowing my
Anyway,
mind right
so he's like, so then he's like, footsteps. So you put a mic in front of you and you walk. And I'm like, oh, I was walking when I was one. I got this,
now.
I ran in front of the mic. I couldn't do it. It was just like, I kept walking into the mic. I couldn't see sync. It goes from, you see the bottom of their feet, then it goes to shoulder, the camera angles. I couldn't get it. And he's like, you know what? It's okay. Some people have it. Some people don't. You just don't have it.
Wow.
Oh,
How?
that guy's cold as ice.
So I picked up the Yellow Pages. I think you guys are too young to know the Yellow Pages.
Oh, no.
No,
We're
no,
old.
no. We know.
Yeah.
We know the yellow pages.
Yeah.
So it's like a yellow book. It's a Google search, but you actually have pages
Yeah.
on it. So I called every studio. After a million no's, I got one yes. One studio said I could sit in, but I cannot see what the artists are doing, but I sit in with the mixer, the Foley mixer. And they really did me an advantage because I get to learn what the sounds like behind the mixer's point of view, and I sat in the mix stage, so I really learned. And then I told the artist, I'll clean after you guys. So they were happy to leave it a mess, but then I was able to listen and try to recreate sounds.
Yeah.
And so of course they had a no budget film and they asked me if I wanted to do it and I get paid. I'm like, yeah. Almost 28 years later, I am doing it.
Oh, that's
That's
awesome.
awesome. Oh,
Nice.
God, that's awesome.
You definitely just blew my mind talking about bags of chips that don't make sound. I was like, what? I was like, oh man, that's something new. That's cool though. That's cool that the fact that you just kind of like snuck your way in there. Like, yeah, I'll sit and do the mixing session. I'll learn everything behind the scenes, and then when it's my turn, I'll just step right on there like it's nothing. That's cool. That's cool.
That's a cool way to. So I take it from you doing that. That's how you broke into the whole post-production house field, and that's how you kind of got your start. So can you elaborate a little bit more on like how did you like push through, or like how many more projects you did
Yeah, so I remember I had that company. I did a lot of free movies, and then they said, well, you know what, let's get you to get paid. So they start paying me $11 an hour, and this is like almost 28 years ago. So I was a baller.
Yeah, that's big money there.
I was rich. Minimum wage is $5. I'm like, more than double minimum wage. That's awesome. So I started working for them, and of course, I was also a barista at a coffee shop, and people was like, oh, so what are you doing? Like, what do you do? And I said, oh, are you in college? I'm like, well, unfortunately, I couldn't go to college at that time. And I said, so meanwhile, I'm a Foley artist. He goes, oh, really? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, I have a friend. I mean, I had no business saying I was a Foley artist,
Mm.
So he goes, I have a friend that's looking for a Foley artist. I'm like, great. I'm great at interviews. So I went and I'm like, he goes, are you a Foley artist? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, how long have you been doing it? I'm like, a year. It was not a year.
Sometimes you got to fake it to make it.
Hey.
But with Foley, there is no hiding it. So,
yeah.
So then, because you're in a room, the mic, there's nothing else. So the owner was like, so a year, huh? I'm like, I'm stretching the truth a little bit because I really want this job. He's like, all right, I appreciate your honesty. So I got hired. I was getting paid $25 an hour.
Sheesh.
That's awesome.
Full-time job.
Sheesh.
Because I was learning, teaching myself, like I'll do something and the mixer was like, and the mixer was just as green as I was. He was like a producer's son that told me to give my son a job. So it was like the blind leading the blind kind of. So we didn't know what we're doing. And I'll do it, then I'll run back and listen. So we get paid for 8 hours, but we were there for like sometimes 20 hours because they paid for artists and mixers, and we had no business being artists or mixers.
So y'all
and I got good. Like I got good, because I couldn't hide, and I got good. And someone offered me to work for this one company that did a lot of Nickelodeon stuff. They want me to cover for someone. I went in and they were really impressed. Immediately hired me full time, paid me like double. I'm like, I'm taking it. Yes. So I was with them for 10 years.
So all this is before you went to school though?
So yeah, because at this point I'm going to school. I'm working on my biology degree.
Okay.
And doing Foley. And I was working on having kids because I was, obsessed. I wanted a baby so bad.
Okay.
So then while having kids, doing Foley, and then eventually I finished school and I went to med school in the Cayman Island.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And I was doing med school and I was doing a master's of business online at the same time. So did that, came back. So it was an accelerated program. So I was gone for 15 months.
Okay.
Came back and got a divorce, took custody of my kids. So I had to stop my medicine. The 15 months I had for clinical rotations, I couldn't do it because my kids were with me full time. And, they take priority. So people found out I was back and started getting jobs.
They started calling.
Yeah. And I didn't want to go back to the company I was working for because I gave it to someone that really needed the job. So out of respect, you can't go back.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I covered for someone at Warner Brothers, and immediately they offered me a full-time job.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, well, I don't take people's jobs. The person that's here, they're like, well, we're not going to have her here anymore. I'm like, well, I have to call her first and ask. I called her. I'm like, is it true that you're moving on to something else? She's like, yes. I'm like, okay, then sure, I'll take it. Because, you just got to do the right thing, kind of.
Yeah. Are you all like tight knit like that though? Like, so like as easy as you called her because you knew she was probably leaving or whatever the case is? Or like, is that whole like Foley community, or like, are you all like real tight knit like that?
Like tight, like they fight kind of tight. They don't like when people teach, they don't, it's a very like kind of like tight community. And like I wish, I'm trying to change it where I do me right, and whoever doesn't want to be positive, that's on them. I still stand by me doing everything right and treat people how I would like to be treated, or regardless how, if I hear what they're saying or anything.
So it is a lot of like gatekeeping, I guess, to a certain point, and you're trying to stop that. You try to knock down those walls and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And I was, some of them were already established. I was one of the younger ones back then.
Right.
So, I never made it to the cool club kind of thing, which is fine.
Did they not like that though? Especially just telling us how you came up. Like, I got that job. Well, that's somebody else that didn't want that job. But I'll take it. Did that reflect on them like in a bad way? I guess because they probably looked down on you because you probably didn't have those like amount of years of experience like they did and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just hope there's definitely some really, really nice humans in the Foley community. Like there's like they're really, really nice people. And like with any job, there's good and there's bad, and you just focus on the good.
Okay.
So after I worked at Warner Brothers for 3 years, I decided to open my own company. And every year 2016 I opened my company. Now 2022 I have 3 Foley stages, and they're always booked. So
that's awesome.
Crazy. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I seen the studio. I seen you had like 3 of them. I'm like, whoa. I guess a lot of space, a lot of rooms, and they all different and everything like that. I'm like, that's dope.
Yeah, you need that. You need all that space for all the different environments and stuff that you kind of create and replicate different sounds and stuff. Speaking of like some of your spaces, like what's like some of the craziest setups that you have for like some of your Foley stages? Like I know usually like some studios have like different kind of like tiles, like they'll have tile, like sand pits, like plywood that are like flooring and stuff like that. So like what's a couple of examples that like how's your setup?
So I have like the main thing of every stage, there is the dirt pit.
Mm-hmm.
In the dirt pit, you have side of it, you have gravel, you have river rocks, you have the pea gravel and the big gravel, because you never know what scene's going to come up. You have your grass, you have your tall grass. By grass, I personally use a 1/4-inch tape sometimes. And sometimes I use, the grass that you put in the Easter basket.
Yeah.
That sounds really good because it's not harsh, So, and I don't necessarily use that grass per se. I have to see the picture, what sounds good with the picture.
Right.
I can't just, this is what I use every time. I've used pom-poms before that sounded good. So I have to go with the day, what sounds good. I have dry leaves. I have fake leaves, so I'm ready for anything. Then I have a sand pit, then just big brick rocks. Then I have a pit that's kind of empty that I put snow in it when I have snow, because I like actual snow. It sounds better than faking it with cornstarch.
Yeah,
which I can fake with cornstarch and grass seed and stuff like that, but nothing like the real snow sounds great. I have on the stage at all times 4 different wood surfaces, 2 that are for indoors, 1 for stage, and 1 for dock wood. Plus I have another wood that I put in there if I need it creaky, depending on what's going on in the scene. We have smooth cement, we have rough cement, and we have kind of like a tile-ish kind of cement, which is extra smooth. I don't actually use real tile because if you walk with heels or tile, it is ear piercing.
Yeah.
And when you mix it, it sounds like a digital tick. It gets in the middle of the music and it sounds like it's a mistake. So you want it as full body as you could give it to them. Because you could always roll off the low end, make it sound higher, but it's pretty tricky to mess with the high end.
That's awesome.
That's good.
Wow,
So you saying about the grass? So I would assume, like, I guess fresh grass or like fresh leaves or foliage or whatever the case is, it has a different sound than older foliage. Like, do you have to like tell the differences between that type of stuff as well? Like,
yeah. So there are some stages I worked at where they insisted on bringing pieces of grass and setting them down. So what happens about a few steps, you stomp the thing dead and you get the little gnats on the stage.
Right.
And it doesn't sound good. It sounds thumpy. So I'm like, okay, if you're gonna get real grass, you're gonna have someone that's gonna be coming in and changing it for me, because I'm not gonna be changing it every 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna be using this grass the whole time. So but just play it. You give me that sound and I'll match it without using the real thing.
Sometimes things that you use sound way better than their original source too. So like if you like earlier you were talking about the tape, like using cassette tape like as grass and stuff. I find that way like crisp and like better than like stepping in like uh real grass or like turf or something like
Mhm.
wise. It's more enjoyable like when you just like create something like that sounds either just like it or even better than the original.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the game, trying to recreate the sound and go bigger than life. Unless the show calls for subtlety, you
Mm.
want to go big because you don't want to lose it. Because once you add music, like a lot of people, as you know, my videos, I'm only recording on my cell phone,
Yeah,
so that's not the best, the good
quality.
quality,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's for a reason. The clients pay for the good quality, and that's what they get.
Right.
So basically, like when you record, you don't want to lose like the subtleness, and
Mhm.
mic placement is important. You guys are hearing one level.
Yeah.
When we're recording, we're using two mics. Someone's coming from far too close, so my mixer is also working. They're not just, chilling, pressing a button,
Yeah.
Mhm.
actually
Yeah,
mixing.
they're cutting and replacing reverb, using
Well, not so much. They do some cutting, but what they do is like if someone is coming in from far shot to a close shot, yes, I will walk them softer. The closer they get, I'll walk them louder,
yeah,
but I'm in front of the mic. So what my mixer will do, we use two mics. So he or she will use the far mic when they're far away,
yep,
and the closer they get, they'll switch off and start using more for the close mic.
Close
And
mic.
it goes to like a mono,
Yeah.
yeah.
track.
That's really like the magic of it too, because like nothing really sounds the exact same. So something that's farther away sounds way different than it being up close. So
Yeah.
like if you have a car that's like passing by like on the street, like a residential street, it's gonna sound way different when it's in front of like a person in front
Yeah.
versus like the sound of that same exact car passing at the end of the block. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and that's the cars are more like sound effects, but the Foley is like the footsteps, the
Yeah,
little nuances, the organic sounds is what we do.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Creatively. So of course you do live action, of course you do animation. Which one do you prefer, I guess, that you actually like the best? Or like do you have a one that you like the best?
Best show in animation?
No, just like far as doing the Foley sounds for them. Like which one do you like far as creativeness, like which one gives you like more creative range to like work with?
Yeah.
A lot of my clients are watching this.
I don't want to start no beef with anybody.
So whoever's watching this, your show's my favorite. um, I really, to answer your question, all seriousness, to me, like creatively, any show can be creative, and any show has its own like texture. And you are literally, as an artist, as a Foley artist, you are acting with sound.
Hmm.
I always tell people, like, just be aware. I hope you're never sad, but I'm sure you'll be sad one day, or not. But when you're walking, when you're sad, there's like a slight drag to your foot, right? You're down, your body's heavier,
Yeah.
versus when you heard the best news of your life, there's this upbeat to your feet,
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing as an artist. You're getting to know your character, you're getting to character, you're acting with sound. So creatively, you are being creative every single project. They are all fun in their own way. With me, what makes it or breaks it for me is my client.
Mm.
Like, it was really funny because I was working on one show and I had a client, and he was very difficult to work with. And I was absolutely miserable. Like all of us will go to work. We're like, oh my gosh, let's just get it done with. It's like I'm like, I feel like there's like this little dark cloud. I gotta sage this place or something. So then the person got fired from the show. So the next year they had a different sound supervisor. And oh my gosh, it was such a pleasure. We're so happy. So then right then I'm like, it's not the show, it's the client.
It's the client.
So then I am very picky who I work with. If someone is just not a happy person, I'm like, oh, please go somewhere else.
Be like that sometimes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So to kind of like piggyback back off his question earlier, because I'm really curious, do you feel like you have more when it comes to creating and your creativity? Do you feel like you have more flexibility with animated stuff or with the live stuff? Like which do you kind of like lean towards and like enjoy doing more? Because with the live stuff, like unless it calls for like a science fiction like movie or something where you can actually like create some new sounds that don't quite exist because like you have nothing to kind of go off of. So like a good example would be like Transformers. Like there's no real Transformers in the real world, so like you kind of have to build upon like creating like the whole sounds of like what would their footsteps or what would their arms sound like moving while they're talking or something like that. So like what do you lean towards more, the animated or the real live action or the movie wise stuff?
So that's a very good question, because the first 10 years of my career, I did a lot of sci-fi movies and a lot of animation. I didn't do any TV really. So, and sci-fi, like you said, you get to create things out of thin air, like that don't exist.
Yeah.
So I think it was very cool. I get bored with things. Thank God I'm a Foley artist. So like my attention is like, oh, look, bird, then I'm distracted. So my job, that's why my job is good. So animation is very creative. And like you could walk someone footsteps using a shoe. You could use your hands. I've done a thing when I get a balloon, licked my finger, and that eat was the footsteps. So like basically the sky's the limit. It's whatever you envision. And if your supervisor lets you be creative, you could even give him your vision of what it is. And then they listen back to it and could give you notes, and you just turn masterpieces. With live action and TV and stuff. That's also great because you have live people, you could predict their movements more, you could put more emotion into it. So and you have to match production. So production is bad, that's when I usually call my supervisor, hey, this looks like marble but it sounds like wood, how do you want me to play it? I don't know. I'm like, I have an idea. How about if I put a really woody shoe and walk it on marble, and of course coming out top production? They usually, yeah, that's great. That's a good thing. So that's a difference. Unless there's animation that they had us do more like live action, like which was Avatar: The Last Airbender. They leaned into doing it more like a featurey kind of style. And even the animation had emotion. Yes, you get the appa, which is like not human, and Aang with that little feet,
Yeah.
So those are kind of cool to do, but a lot of times it was like when he was sad, they did an incredible job portraying that.
Yeah.
They were really, really creative. That was pretty awesome to work on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How is it just going, like, how's just your experience of like just, I guess, watching like silent movies and silent TV shows and just got to predict like the sound? Like, has it like been a time that you probably like had the hardest time trying to figure out a sound to the point that you probably made a new sound or something like that? Like, I don't know what to put here, but I really like this in my head. I really like the way this sounds in my own head. So I'm gonna see what that does and see how that is. Like, have you had to experience that?
Well, from time to time, I'll get like a weird prop. I think it just happened recently. I don't know, something I had to do. And I did it and it didn't sound good. And my mixer was like, what was that? I'm like, it sounded great in my head. We just start laughing. Yeah, I'm like, wait, my head is wrong. Let me get something else. So you put stuff together. But we completely got stomped when we're working for Alan Murray. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He did. Yeah. He was the most nominated sound supervisor in the world, the Joker, everything. He passed away, unfortunately. But I worked on his last 2 features with alongside so Dan O'Connell. He did the footsteps on his stage, and I did the props on my stage. And to work with Alan Murray, it's like
that's up there, yeah.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, Alan, I'm so excited. He goes, okay, that's fine. You're a good artist. I'm like, okay. Gives me the cues and did it, and I'm like, okay, so go ahead and listen to it. So for him to sit there and listen to Foley, it's like, really, So he went and listened to it. He goes, you missed the scene. I'm like, no, I didn't. Are you crazy? And he's like, yeah, you missed the scene. I'm like, what scene? He goes, it's the movie Those Who Wish Me Dead with Angelina Jolie.
Okay.
There's a car crash that goes down on third, like the thing is bouncing and flips over, and the rains, like the river turns into rain on top of it. And the car is upside down and the wheel is spinning off a car. He goes, you missed that. I'm like, I'm sorry, come again? He goes, you didn't do that. I'm like, yeah, what sound effects are they doing? Are they sleeping? Like, and he's like, welcome to the big league. You gotta do it all. Okay. And he's like, you don't know how to do it? I'm like, oh, come on, of course I know how to do it. What do you think? I'm a rookie? And he's like, I didn't think you were. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. Busy, gotta do a car crash, hang up the phone. And then we're like in the studio, oh my gosh, what the heck are we gonna do? So we called a guy that did really, really big features for many years. He's a mixer he came over that was gonna hire him. We're like, oh my gosh, he told us to do a car crash. Like, he's like, guys, Sanaa, you're a very good Foley artist. Matt, you're great. I saw you guys work. Arno, you're an excellent mixer. Believe in yourselves and layer. Calm down. I am not coming to rescue you guys. You can't do this. I've seen your work. We're like, okay. He goes, if you have any questions while you're doing it. So I'm like, okay. So then we got hoods, we got cars. When the car's bouncing, we had to do dirt hitting the bottom of the car. When the tire was scraping, we got boxing gloves to do the tire scrape. And when we did a squeak and we got car door and smacked it. And then the car flips upside down in the water. We're holding car doors and tailgates and smashing them against rocks. And then it starts raining on top of it. We're doing layers and layers. And I get on the ladder and I get a water, the things to water plants.
Yeah.
And Matt, my Foley partner, is going like this with his hands to make it sound like rain and get all over the place. And then the damn tire starts spinning. I was like, no. What the heck am I going to do? So then I remember every time we have dinner, my son sits on this stool and keeps spinning in it. Now, mind you, he was 19 years old. It's not like he's a baby. And I'm like, oh my gosh, would you stop making that noise? And I'm like, that noise. I know exactly what it is. But my husband, like, go home and get me that chair. So he gets me the chair. I'm like, we gotta make it sound bigger than life. We gotta make it sound connected to a car. You can't just have a stool. So then we got a briefcase, a suitcase on top of wood. Like, we just resonated with car door on top of it, and then we spun it, and it just sounded beautiful. 8 hours for a little couple minute scene.
Oh man.
Like, most exhausting thing in my life.
Do those
And
things like pay off for you though? Like far as like working like probably like 8 hours just for like a 10-second scene, like does the payoff equal like all that work and everything like that?
oh my gosh, when you sit back and listen back to your work and you love it, like seriously, like we were all like holding it, like when when you get like all teary eyed and you're like, oh my gosh, I was so ready. So then we looked at each other and we're like, we did it, guys, we did it, And then the next day, Mr. Alan Murray called me. I am so proud of you. You see sound now in 3D.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
gosh. So
That's
I'm
cool.
like, and he sent me an email, which I still have.
That's
So
cool. That's cool.
yeah.
That's
But to
awesome.
be honest, like every time we work on really cool stuff,
Mhm.
with every cue, we celebrate the little,
Yeah.
the little cues. We celebrate everything we do. We're so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, we did it. Like it's not even like my videos. I'm not like posing. I'm not, acting. I'm actually working, and we actually celebrate and laugh like every time. It's just what we do, and we love what we do.
Yeah, it's the little victory that counts sometimes.
Little
Yeah.
victories,
Yeah,
yes.
that's cool.
So about like how many projects do you normally work on? Let's say a day or something like.
So
between,
three
like,
stages. Having 3 stages, we usually have anywhere from 3 to 4 shifts a day,
mhm.
and we try to do 3 to 4 shifts a day and 5 days a week. But during busy season, I mean, sometimes we're doing 5.5 shifts. It
Dang.
depends. With 3 stages, we have, like it gets tough, and we work sometimes 7 days a week.
Mm.
But there's people have deadlines and stuff,
Yeah.
and that's why it's when I hire people, it's really, really important that they're passionate about what they're doing, because you're spending so much time with them.
Yeah.
If I tell people, if you're there to do it, there's so many other jobs you could make really good money that's less physical.
Right.
Just do what you love,
Yeah, that's
and you
true.
won't feel like work.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's true. Do you look at, I guess, like movies and TV shows a little bit differently now? Like far as looking like,
He should have used this sound
yeah,
instead
you
of
should
this
use that sound. Like I
sound.
probably would have did this or that like that. Do you look at like movies or TV shows or anything like that?
So here's the thing with that. Is it fair for me to judge the work? No, it's not fair.
Mhm.
Because if I'm given, for example, 3 days to do a show,
Mhm.
someone else is getting 4 hours to do an entire show, which happened to me. I've done a show that was given 4 hours to do it. Someone else gets 16 hours to do it.
That's crazy.
Now, how is that a fair judgment?
Right.
It's not. So, from experience, if you're a reasonable human, you know that you cannot judge the work of
Right.
someone else because you don't know what they're up against. I always say, I wish they would put categories of how many hours they spend on what they were able to do on those hours, and how
Mhm.
much editing they were given before it went to the stage to be mixed. So I can't judge. However, having said that, kind of judge a little bit if I'm watching something and I'm like, "Ooh, that's really terrible."
Yeah.
Pick up IMDb. I see the name.
Mhm.
Just remember the name. Cool. This is the artist that did it. Mixer. Just in the back of my mind. Moving on. Keep watching the show. No
Yeah.
problem.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened here. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Keep going. Keep going. Then I watch another show. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds really good. Pick up my IMDb, see who worked on it. I'm like, God damn, of course, yes, good
Yeah.
job. But I also know you get 1,000,000 hours to do it. But hats off to you. That sounded great. It's good for you for being able to get a lot of time. Then another time I come and I see another bad one, and I check. Sure enough, it's the same person. Another bad one, sure enough, same the person that did bad work. So now I'm seeing a trend there.
The pattern.
So maybe it's not the time. It's either you're a bad artist or you are selling yourself short. You're not getting enough time. So ultimately, you are hurting your career and hurting all the people around you, because the person that gets 1,000,000 hours could have got the job too, but you ruined it for them. So, but don't lower your standards. Don't go so cheap to try to get the job, because it will be really almost impossible for you to raise your prices. Just keep it consistent with everyone. You're gonna ultimately you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah, especially if you're selling yourself short, and a person who's contracting you, or whatever the case is, especially if they get 4 hours to do a whole 30-minute show, is freaking ridiculous.
I've done it.
Either 30-minute or an hour show, however long the freaking show is. 4 hours, I know for a fact, is not long enough. That wouldn't even make it
cover everything, so it's go time. You gotta be really on it.
Yeah, you do, because I remember doing practicums, and and a couple of them that we did were like 24-hour, like 24. It was like a 24-hour like competition thing. So like we shot it in one day, we like sent it to post in one day, like everything, and it was just like like the most intense, stressful thing like I remember, and I was like, oh my god. So I can only imagine like somebody just like, here, take take this project. We need this. We need this movie that's like 3 hours long, in let's say an hour and a half.
That's when I say now, no, thank you.
So you won't stress me out.
I have this policy with the people that work with me, where there's no such a thing as I'm their boss. We're equal. When I step into the stage, I'm a Foley artist with my Foley partner, with my Foley mixer. So we all creating equally. Just so when we hire new people, I don't make the decision by myself. I'm actually a lot of times the last person to meet whoever we're training or hiring. They go through everyone first, then they come to me, because I never want to be like, well, I'm the boss, I'm gonna decide.
Right.
No. We all decide, and I'm going to be the last person after all of you guys like this person. And then after I meet them, I just have them sit in with me, try different things. Then after I go, and then we kind of like get in a meeting. So what do you guys like about this person? And what don't you like? Is it something that, because I have no problem being blunt and telling them what the problem is. If we can work on this, we'll take you on as one of us. So basically we're all kind of working together as like a group, and create. So this way no one feels like, oh, well, you said no. We're all equals. We all work together to get a good product, have good people working with us too.
No, that's cool. That's cool, because you pretty much going to see, like, are you going to be a good part of this team before you get to the final boss, which is me. So I'll make the decision just depending on how the team thinks and how you all work together, and see how that goes with you all and everything like that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's cool.
And they're scared of me. I'm like, why are you so scared of me? They're like, when they talk, I'm like, what's wrong with you?
They sitting back in their chairs like, I don't know.
I'm like, that's scary. What's wrong with you?
Far as projects, what's the, well, first, what did you win far as a Foley artist? Like, what did you win? Like, what award was it that you actually won?
It was MPSC, a Golden Reel Award.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was for?
What project it was for?
No.
I've done like a million projects. It was just like,
don't worry about it then.
Don't worry about it. It's just
don't worry about it.
I should from now on I will know.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
No, it's understandable. It's understandable. You worked on a lot of stuff, so
like I work a lot. I have no clue.
Can you edit this part out?
It's okay. Like, I work a lot. It's okay.
Keep it. I have nothing to hide. Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's
Oh,
okay.
it's fine.
But what's the? I guess like what's the biggest thing that you consider like the biggest thing that you worked on so far?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of big things. Let me think. I
Well,
mean, we
maybe
did.
I don't want to consolidate anybody and make anybody angry. But
Yeah.
probably, do you have a favorite? Maybe.
No, I don't have any favorites. It's like
No.
asking who's my favorite child, you know? They're all my favorites.
Sometimes.
I'm like, I love them all. I just like some more than others. Like the ones that went to the Emmys this year and last year was Ted Lasso.
Okay.
That was a really good one that I actually get to meet a lot of the cast at the primetime Emmy after party. And it was met Jason Sudeikis. We met all the actors there. And you know how they're really nice on screen?
Yeah.
They were really nice off screen. Every single
That's
one.
good. That's good.
That's good.
Super nice.
That's cool.
So it was just a pleasure to be around them. The sound supervisor is so nice. You know, I mean, we work hard, you know, but
Yeah.
really appreciative. The only time I got to meet the picture editors. There's two of them, and Melissa is so great, and AJ is so awesome, and they both kind of like they keep winning different, you know. One of them won for the Emmys, one of them won for another awards.
Yeah.
They're just so passionate, and
That's
they
cool.
respect the footsteps when they're cutting the show. They're really left, right. I'm like, thank you. Because sometimes you go left, right, left, then it's a bad cut. I have to fix it in sound, you know?
Yeah.
So those are great. Even met the makeup person, the location person that does the location in the UK. They came down, and we're all kind of like friends on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. And
Different seeing
it
them in
was-
person.
yeah, and Hannah that plays Rebecca, she was so, I mean, I don't like to talk about people, what they look like, but she was so stunning. She was so nice. And, you know, she's really tall and has great posture. And, you know, I'm really short and horrible posture, you know. So when I was talking to her, I'm like, oh my God, you're so pretty. She's like, she goes, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a Foley artist. She's like, shut up. I'm like, no, you shut up.
That's cool.
It was just fun to meet them. They're really, 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 really good people. And Jason was like, he was like a friend, you know, like, you know, just for people to be able to do that. I mean, I met a lot of comedians, and some comedians, like, if the camera is on them, they're fun and they're your best friends. The camera goes off, they ignore you, and you're like, wait, are we friends? What's going on? Are we not friends?
So he was having a good time. What happened?
Genuine fun.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Awesome.
Malcolm, do you have anything else? That was pretty much the majority of my questions. I know you the guy who went to school for this, so
Yeah.
So
have you had any advice for people that are trying to break into any post-production houses and stuff? What advice would you give them?
Okay, so I think the best advice I can give them is be persistent, be humble, be kind, and be nice to everyone.
Yeah.
Just be nice. I'm gonna tell you like stories where I had back in the day, people come over and give me work orders, like, this is what you're working, show number, we have to sign and stuff. Few years down the line, they have their own company and they're the big bosses.
Oh wow.
So
People never forget if you put
Yeah.
a bad impression.
The people that pick up your trash, you thank them for picking up the trash, and you're not better than them to pick up the trash. You pick up the trash with them.
Exactly.
You sweep. You go over and beyond, and that gets noticed. You know, treat people like you want to be treated. Work hard. Be the first one in, last one out. And that's why people said, when I wasn't good, what I lacked in talent, I made up for in hard work. And I'm like, oh, thank you, I think.
It caught up. The talent caught up. It's all right.
Like backhanded. I'm like, ouch, but okay. And if let's say you want to get into Foley, right? Foley artists are really terrible about allowing people to watch them. And that's why I opened the TikTok and Instagram, because I had to self-learn and I struggled along a lot and no one helped me. So I was self-taught. If someone told me, hold the cup like this, you know how many hours I would have saved? Not trying to figure. Or if I had videos seeing someone do it, I would be able to copy. So, just practice and if they don't, Foley artists are not going to let you in, that's fine. Sit in with a mixer. Foley mixer is not going to let you in. Perfect. Stay at the ADR stage. Stay at the dubbing mixer. Make friends with people. Yeah. Eventually, you either become a Foley artist, you meet Foley people, they get to know you, they'll invite you to sit with them because you're a nice, good human that's helpful. Or you may fall in love with something else completely different.
Yeah,
just remember, when a door closes, there's so many other ones waiting for you.
Yeah, that's very true. Because the sound community is very like tight knit and like small. Like everybody pretty much knows everybody. So like if you're working on a project and you're like overbooked and stuff, and you can like, hey, such and such, what are you doing? Like, you mind doing this? And this, it is amazing that like you were saying earlier, that like that's kind of like one of your things and one of your like your people thing. We don't like, step on like over each other, and we'll like check with each other and be like, hey, I know you normally do this, but is it cool if I do this? And like, yeah, go ahead, right ahead. You're helping me out, like kind of thing. I love that.
Exactly. And be nice. Just be a good human. Sometimes I have to say, you can't get into the studios. You have to go to recording school first. Because then here's the thing. I had people came in and trained, which is really, it slows me down when I train people. It's really difficult to do that. And then you spend 3-4 weeks with them, where when I would have finished in 8 hours, I'm finishing in 10, and I'm paying people extra time to spend this time with a person. And then they're like, oh, this is so hard, I just can't do it. I'm like, I'm like, I appreciate you being honest. I never want you to be stuck in something you don't like. I want to say, oh, thank you for wasting my time and money, but I don't say that. I think about it. So now I have Zoom workshops. That's why I got 2 people that work for me now through that. They're hardworking. I did a Zoom workshop. I gave them homework. They send me videos, and they were great. They took notes. 100% was not a Foley artist when she came to work for us. And now I told her I'm going to get a shirt that says copy, paste. She sounds like me and looks crazy like me. She got my style.
That's cool.
So, but just be persistent. Take Zoom workshops from people that you want to work for or not, or go to school if you need to, because if you go to school, learn Pro Tools, then big companies could have you come in as an intern. Also, do not burn out.
Yeah,
that's
if you're an intern and if it's a toxic place, leave. I had someone that worked at various places, then came work for me. By the time he comes to work for me, he was on his last leg, and then he's like, he goes, I love working for you guys, but I'm mentally exhausted from the other jobs. Like, they're not nice. They're really mean. And I wish I started with you guys. I'm like, hey, do what works for you. We're really sorry you're not going to stay. But toxic people are everywhere. Just don't be desperate just because this the only one that's available to you. Don't stay in it. Don't get abused. Go find another one. Remember, if one door closes, there's a million other doors.
That's cool.
That's good advice. I know earlier you speaked on like working with difficult people. So if you can give some advice for people that how to like uh, how to get away from those difficult people, or like what are some of the signs that you're like you get these difficult clients, and like you kind of don't want to do it, but you have to like work with them. What's some advice to kind of like cascade your way from like their usual bullshit or stress that they might
So
give?
when you take a job, whether you like the person or not, you finish it and you do your best.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the person is difficult, not difficult, it doesn't matter. You don't ever burn bridges. You will lose money, you will lose your mind. You have your friend, your companion, your partner. You go and whine to them. When that difficult client calls, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, whatever you need. Oh, you want to do this 100 times? No problem. I will do it 100 times. Oh, you want me to foley someone smiling? Sure, I will foley someone smiling. You know, so those that kind of things that you have to deal with, and you learn from it, and you just hope that um, that you're good enough of a person that whatever you believe in, God, universe, whatever that is you believe in, will give you something better because you are a good person.
Mm-hmm.
Karma.
Or when I get a difficult client, I'm like, oh, I must have been mean to someone, so I probably deserve that.
So yep, this is payback.
You're like, yep, I was overdue for some karma.
I'm like, hey, Karma, thanks, I got you. It's cool, we're good.
I got the sign. I got it.
I think whatever I did, I'm more than paid for it. So thanks there. But
take it
so
away.
when you first start out, you gotta take some bad clients, and then then you get to. I still like the bad clients. Um, I'm just too busy to work for them when they call. Sorry, my ABC, FG,
Yeah.
team are all busy. And usually I'll message the crew. I'm like, hey, who wants to work with this person? And they all send emojis of someone taking out the trash.
Said no.
We have like a group chat. I'm like, all right, so that's a solid no from everyone. They're like, yes. So I'm like, well, perfect. But personally, I don't think it's worth it. And they're like, no, absolutely not worth it. So we usually talk about, we do group chats about it. And, but if someone wanted to work on them, like, let's say if my mixer wanted to record, I'll definitely will be the artist if no one else wanted to do it, and drag one of the young ones that are learning to be with me, So most of the day working is going to be a lot of whining, from all of us, So, but, like you said, eventually when you're good and you paid your dues and you created your company, you will be good enough to choose your clients.
Yeah.
And but plus there's also TV season where it's really busy,
Yeah.
where you don't have time to do anything. So that's when you're supposed to save your money. So when it gets a little slower, when you could, during Thanksgiving, only work 3 days, so you actually have a 4-day weekend with the family. You're cool, you're chill because you saved money. You're not gonna. I mean, if you want to work, I could always get it, but no, let's not get work. So, and everyone in my crew feels the same. So we all like kind of like see eye to eye in that.
On the same level.
Even during COVID, we decided when we got a call to work, we're all kind of like struggling. When we get a call to work for someone, I'm like, guys, if you guys are struggling, we'll do it, And we all said that, and we're like, kind of like in our life, we're good.
That's cool.
All right, last little question, and you don't have to answer it.
I'm not answering.
You don't have to answer it.
How much do you make?
No. I was gonna ask that, but that is a good question. But last question. I don't want to like burn anything though. In the film industry world, I know there's a particular tagline that people tend to use when they don't like projects. Yes or no, or you don't have to answer. You could plead the fifth. like some projects you just didn't want to be attached to? Like, have you ever had any projects you like, glad that's over with? The client was a real jerk.
Absolutely.
I don't want my name attached to this, but like I'll still take the credit, but I'll take the credit under an alias.
Like I worked on it, but I'm not taking the credit.
Yeah.
No, if I worked on it, I'll take the credit.
Okay.
I don't do anything that I don't want credited for. I mean, I learned my lesson and never want to work on them. I don't work on like super sexy things. That's the only thing. I don't do those. I don't need to work on those. I never have. So that's the only thing. And some projects are so dark that I'm like, oh, I could have lived a better life and work on it. I don't like scary movies really scare me. They're really cool and creative, but I get scared, When I worked on Ouija, I almost had a heart attack.
Well,
And the owner of the company that hired me, he knew I was scared, and they were all standing in the window waiting for me to scare. So when the people were walking scared, I was literally scared. I'm like, this is a movie. I'm like, I actually jumped and screamed. They're like, yeah. So no, there's no. I don't think so. Well, do you know something I don't know?
No, I just know like years ago, like a friend of mine like was on the set, and I think one of the people told him about like an alias that like most editors use. Like you see the name Smith something Smith or whatever, and it's like usually if they don't like, it's not their cup of tea and they don't like to be a part of that movie, they'll use like an alias name, and that's why you see like in the credits you'll see Smith Jones like a whole bunch of times and stuff. So so that's what I was asking about, because like from time to time some people do that where they don't want like, because like especially if they done like nothing but like banger projects and stuff like that, and then like they get this one project, they was like, I don't know about this, and they just like, I don't want my name attached to this, so they use like an alias name, like something Smith or whatever.
I tried to like work on kind of cleaner stuff, but then again, who am I to say? I worked on Shameless,
Wow.
It's like me die for more, I work on the Minx. It's like, okay. And then I work on Ted Lasso, then I work on Kung Fu and Quantum Leap. So, I enjoy all of them. It kind of like I worked with one of our really great Foley artists, Dan O'Connell. He's the one that did Ford versus Ferrari, and he did Joker, and he's the one who he did the footsteps for Those Who Wish Me Dead, and the last Clint Eastwood movie. He did the feet, I did the props.
Okay. I love Ford vs Ferrari. That's one of my favorite freaking movies.
It's good. He did a good job. I actually had dinner with Dan yesterday. He's my favorite. He's a good, talented man.
That movie sounds so amazing on loud.
Isn't that crazy?
It sounds so amazing.
It's really, really good.
Yeah, you gotta blast that like high volume playing that movie.
To be honest, I was paying attention to the Foley and the effects so much that I don't think I paid attention to the dialogue.
It's that good. It's that good.
I don't even know what the story is about. I was just mesmerized by the sound.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen too often. But I get impressed.
I wonder, do you get like sick of like once it's all done, like, because you see it so much when you're recording too. So I can imagine like you're like, oh yeah, you like, oh, this scene is gonna come up, like, because you've seen it when you were working.
I don't rewatch my work.
You don't rewatch it?
I don't like rewatching movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my husband is like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Where would you watch it? I know it's gonna happen."
That's true, but you don't got. That's why you need a favorite right there. She said, "I don't like rewatching movies. I just seen it. I seen it. I made everything for it. I've seen it in silence, so I'm good."
That's true.
When I work on the film, the first thing I do, I go through and do a cloth pass from beginning to end with headphones. So I'm listening to production and I'm listening to my cloth to get into character. And after that, we do all the footsteps for every person. And after that, we have to do every sound they make. If they go like this, if they go like this, anything they touch, anything they drink, anything they chew, frame by frame by frame. So I've watched it like a gazillion times.
That's true.
But then we watch it down before we give it to the client. So then I watch it again, be like, oh, that was a little off, 2 frames, 1 frame, move it back, just paying attention to the nuances. Put a tag there. Let's add something, like I did someone eating, but then I saw their throat go.
So you got to make that.
I want to go in there and do that little swallow. I missed it. We all missed it. So we go through and just make sure it's all fine tuned, and we deliver it. Now, if he's going to play, I'm not going to watch that. I'm done. Because sometimes you give it to the dubbing mixer and they just go, oh, Foley. They play nothing.
Say it's good. It's them.
Wait, what? So then I learned a lesson. So I always respect my dubbing mixers.
Yeah.
I never watch it.
Oh, man. So we know who this came from. It's A1. It's good. It passes.
Right.
Yes.
That's cool. That's cool. I did have one more question I had thought about. So you get no, it's not too bad. So you do get like the contracts and the people that you work with before, like far as either you or like somebody on your team, like say they're into like superhero movies or something like that. And I guess like Shazam that just came out. Are they like super excited? Like, wow, I really want to work on this and I really want to do something like that. Like, does those opportunities like come at any time?
So Shazam is, I work a lot with Warner Brothers, so I know the crew that works on Shazam. And even though if I want to work on it, I can't step on the toes. I got to be respectful. Because if I want it, I will get it. But I have to be respectful. It just unspoken rule. I let the clients come to me.
Yeah.
So
have you all had something like that though?
I didn't go after them. They came after me,
Yeah.
So.
But have you all had something like not even if it's like a team on it already or somebody assigned to it already, but like it's just something upcoming, like you all see like it's being announced or something like that. Like it's just free and like that's real cool. I would love to work on that. Like how like have you all had that? Yeah.
So that happened, and when I want something, put my mind to it, I get it.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man was coming out.
Okay.
And that was done at Sony. I'm like, oh boy, I want that. So then the lead Foley artist there, he chooses who is going to be his partner. And I knew he was looking for a female because he's male. He's looking for a female. So I called him. I heard he's doing auditions. I never auditioned for a Foley job before.
Yeah.
So I called him. I'm like, hey, I want that audition. He goes, how did you know? I'm like, small world. So I'm like, so I told him everything he wanted to hear. I'm like, you're auditioning. It's a blind test, right? He goes, yeah. I'm like, yeah, give me your hardest thing. Let's do it.
Oh, wow.
He goes, all right. So I came over, really impressed him, brought the biggest suitcase I can, all kinds of shoes. And he gave me the hardest. I mean, he really listened to me. He gave me the hardest thing to do. He gave me one of the Spider-Man when he's jumping from roof to roof to roof to roof. I'm like, play it for me once. He played it. I'm like, perfect. Play it for me 10 more times, please. So, I mean, it's a new environment. It's not my stage, it's not my mixer. I did it. And he waited like till after the weekend and he called me and he said, I got it.
Oh, wow.
So,
Nice.
That's cool.
So got it. It pushed for 3 months. And it was the weekend that my sister was getting married. It was like July. So it was starting on Wednesday. I went there. And then Sonny was like, oh, you got to get COVID tested before you go in. They have a COVID testing thing. I'm like, all right. I mean, I just went, surfing the day before. Try to surf. I'm not a surfer. Like, okay. So the waves were smacking me around, So they had me test myself and I went to the stage and I'm feeling 100% fine. Then I get a call 4 hours into it. I get a call. Hey, can we speak with Sanaa? I'm like, all right. Because it was like the Foley stage was kind of dead. My cell phone wasn't working.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're positive. I'm like, oh yeah, I know. I'm very positive. Like, thanks. Is this why you called me?
So you're damn right I'm positive. I'm always positive.
Like, I'm like, wow, this is so nice. They call me to tell me I'm positive. They're like, this is the health department from Sony. I'm like, yeah, okay. Why is this person from that? They're like, you're COVID positive. I'm like, oh, they're like, well, we don't want to tell anyone. So, I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to tell anyone? I'm in the room with them. Yeah,
Right.
I'm COVID positive. Run for me.
Everybody stay back.
So I'm like, I'm gonna get my stuff. I immediately went like this, got my stuff together. I felt 100% fine.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
so then they had to question me, were you around the artist? I'm like, yes and no. Was you wearing a mask? Yeah,
Yeah.
So because they would have canceled him too, and
Right.
would have lost the movie. Because if they push it 10 days for the whole crew, they only had 20 days to do it, and it's mixing.
Right.
So then my kids are football players, and if they get exposed to COVID, then
They can't play.
They can't play.
2 weeks. They lose 2 weeks of practice and which play. That means they're probably not going to play for a month. So I couldn't do that. So I was prisoner in my room, and my sister was getting married that weekend.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
So much going on at one time.
It was so much. But I wanted Spider-Man. I got Spider-Man.
That's all that matters.
It's like, well, look at the bright side. I got Spider-Man.
Yeah, not on my credit, because 4 hours. Come on, they got 20 days. The guy that actually ended up doing the job is Adam DeCoster. He's the guy. He works for me.
Okay.
Sweet.
He's done a lot of big stuff. He was working with the guy before, and he's done a lot of big stuff. He had a fever, coughing, chills. He was okay to work because he was testing negative. I'm here in my room. I'm like, I think this is what prison is like. I'm doing my boys brought me an elliptical here, and I had weights, and I was just working out every day. I came out of 10 days, I was ripped.
I think they swapped the tests.
They
mixed them up.
I really did think so. I'm like, oh, this is LA. Maybe if I go to Orange County and get tested. So I go to Orange County, I'm like, oh, I went to LA and they tested me positive. Can you test me? And then they're like, okay. So they took it like, yeah, you're positive. I'm like, are you positive? Like, yeah.
It's like, this is some bull.
I was right. I'm like, I have no symptoms. And he's like, so I told that doctor, I'm like, so I have Spider-Man, like, give me that negative thing. He goes, I'm like, I know, I'm fine. Look at me. And he's like,
it's like, I'll tell you what happened at the end. Just give me negative. I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah. So it was kind of
oh man, that's cool.
But it was again, everything happens for a good reason, because when Adam was working, he was messaging me every day. You're so lucky. This is so hard. I can feel my body from all the body falls. It's hard work.
Oh man, that had to suck. He was recording while his body felt so weak. Oh man.
Oh yeah, he sent him home. He only worked half day. He got sent home that day, but came back the next day. Oof. And then he had the weekend to recoup and work. And every day he was messaging me. He goes, "This is really hard work. It's action, So it's but I was ready for it. The guy was telling me. He goes, so. How, I'm like, I know I'm little, but I'm strong. I'll carry you if you want me to. And, I'm like, I carry car doors and, slam, whatever. It's all good.
Cool. Yeah. Do you all get, I would assume though, like you all get like real sore after probably a long, especially if you're like doing 10, 12-hour days and stuff like that. Your body is probably like freaking killing you depending on what you're doing. It's like stepping upstairs, like just walking around. Lifting things up all day. I'm like, man.
So stepping upstairs, we don't actually step on the stairs. We do it on the same flat surface. We just make it sound like they're stepping upstairs.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like the movie, the car crash, when I got home, I couldn't raise my arms,
You were sore. Yeah.
take off my clothes. I had to go this way, and my husband had to help me pull them off.
Yeah.
And I had dirt like my hair when I washed it, there was like mud was coming out, the dirt from spraying.
You was in an actual car crash.
Oh, what a train wreck when I got. Yeah, and he's like, "What happened?" Video games are actually really hard to do as well. Um, I know. See, I have an alarm to go to talk to be online with you guys. So it like video games are really hard, like especially high action ones, like the little stories where you get things cracking and breaking and big spaceships and stuff.
Yeah.
They're very, very hard. Yeah. Usually I say no to video games.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of work into that, especially with all the like for those Unreal Engine, like I think for like Unreal Engine 5, like all that 3D aspect of it, you have to like create for like just the simplest stuff. It's a lot.
Like I had like a 7-minute short that took us 3.5 days for 7 minutes.
Wow.
3.5 horrible days.
Yeah, see, that's why I asked, does it pay off when you work like that? Because man, that's a lot.
And then you have someone wearing a cape for 7 minutes, and every time they move, you're going like this. Your arms are so sore, and you have to hit every movement.
Flap.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, a friend of mine used to joke and say, "You need to be ripped to be a Foley artist." Like, because he's like, forget going to the gym. He's like, just do Foley for a couple of days or a week, and you'll have like huge biceps or triceps.
Yeah, one of the Foley artists that did the Born the Born series, he said that when he would do the footsteps, he would lose 5 pounds.
Oh wow!
He's like, I am literally running the whole time. I'm like, oh yeah, I never thought of it.
I feel sorry. I feel sorry. Whoever doing Tom Cruise footsteps, then whoever doing this.
Dang, what am I on a diet? I'm gonna go practice to Born.
Yeah, especially Tom Cruise movies. All the heck he do is run anyway, and every Mission Impossible and stuff. That's all he do is run.
Oh, yeah. That would be a really cool one to work on. Yeah.
That's cool. All right. You all good, Malcolm?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No, thank you for stopping by and coming through and talking to us. Trust and believe. Every time I shoot a DM, I'm always getting lucky, and we get wonderful people.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not gonna lie. So we're gonna wrap this up. Sanaa, would you like to, I guess, say all your socials and your website and everything like that, and
get potential more
and everything else like that?
Yeah. So my name is Sanaa Kelley, and my handle is real, like a movie reel, Foley, Foley sound. So that's my TikTok is Real Foley Sound. My Instagram is Real Foley Sound. And I made my private one, Sanaa Kelley. I made it public now because people was like, oh, can you post some normal stuff? I'm like, well, this is sound. People don't want to see me normal. Like, but I do post little videos of my boys when they play footballs and stuff like that. That's on cool. The business one. My Instagram is the same. YouTube is the same. Everything is Real Foley Sound. Pretty easy. And website, www.realfoleysound.com.
Real Foley Sound. You all heard it here. Want to thank Sanaa again. This has been the Dread Desk Podcast. My name is Clint.
My name is Mal.
We out of here. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell. And yeah, we will holler at you guys probably someday next week, probably sometime next month. Thanks, Sanaa, again. And stay on. Don't leave just yet. When we end the lesson, stay on for a second. I know you're on time on your timeline, but your time's on your own time. But yeah, we'll holler at you. Dread Desk Podcast. Peace out.
Peace. Deuces.